Hello, and welcome to Ashtanga Yoga modifications for low back pain. My name is Todd McLaughlin, and I'm here at Native Yoga Center in Juno Beach, Florida. And the approach I'd like to take with you today is to lead you through the sitting poses, the floor series of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series in a way that is really easy to practice, really good for back pain, and we'll take it slow and steady, and I'll show you ways that you can modify some of the more complex and difficult asana. So begin by set up your yoga mat. Now, the classic way to start the Ashtanga practice is with the sun salutations. And so I'm going to take you through a sun salutation A, and I'm going to have you start off with your feet together. We're going to practice it in a modified fashion. Begin by breathing through the nose and focus your attention at a single point, and begin by inhale. Raise your arms above your head, tip your head back and look up. Exhale, when you fold forward, hinge at your hips, bend your knees. Either put your hands on your knees, on your shins, or you might have the ability to bring it down on the floor. Take an inhale breath and just practice lifting your chin a little. And then exhale, come down onto your hands and your knees. This is for chaturanga. We're going to take an inhale into the cow pose for the up dog. And we'll take an exhale into the cat pose for the down dog. And then for our down dog, let's take child's pose. Go ahead and bend your knees, bring your hips to your heels, and relax your forehead down. Breathe in and out through your nose, and we're going to breathe for 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale. 1, inhale, exhale. 2, inhale, exhale. 3, inhale, exhale. 4, inhale, exhale. 5. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Curl your toes under, move into a downward dog. Walk your feet forward toward the top of your mat. Hinge at your hips, bend your knees quite a bit so your back is relatively flat. Take an inhale, raise your chin, look forward. Take an exhale, drop your head down and press your knees back if you can. And then come back to standing. Inhale, raise your arms above your head. And exhale, let your arms come down beside the body. Good. Now a Surya Namaskara B. Begin with a chair, but when you make your chair, don't worry about arching way high with your arms. Keep your spine a little more neutral as you squat. And then exhale, put your hands on your legs. You can bend your knees and fold down. See if you can touch your chest on your thighs and drop your head down. On an inhale, raise your chin, look forward. On an exhale, step back and come down onto your hands and your knees. Inhale, breathe into the cow pose. Exhale, breathe into the cat pose. Now take your right foot forward. We're going to modify the warrior, but I want you to draw your belly in, keep your spine relatively neutral, and inhale, raise your arms up and look up. And exhale, bring your hands to the floor, take your right leg back, and we'll work through the cow and cat. Inhale into the cow pose. Exhale into the cat pose. And now let's try the left side. Take your left foot forward, balance on your right knee and left foot, and raise your arms above your head. Tip your head back, look up, and take a full breath in. And as you exhale, bring your hands back down. Take your left leg back. And we're going to work with the inhale of the cow. Exhale into the cat. And now come into child's pose. And we're going to hold in the child's pose for our downward facing dog. Bring your head down toward the mat. And we'll breathe, inhale and exhale for 1. I'm going to breathe 5 breaths. 2. And feel deep pressure stretch in the knees. 3. Every time you inhale in the child's pose, feel your back expand. And as you exhale, relax. 4. And again, take a full breath. Inhale and exhale. 5. Come up onto your hands and knees. We're going to make our way to a downward dog. So you curl your toes under and press your heels down. And then walk your feet forward toward the top of your mat and come up with your hands on your knees or on your shins and lift your chin. On the exhale, try to bring your chest down to your thighs. Drop your head down and stretch the back side of your body. Okay, now set a bend into your knees and come up into the chair, but work where you have your arms a little more forward. And then straight body, come up and release and relax your arms all the way down. Good. Now we're going to move into the sitting poses, and we're going to pick up in the primary series at what is called Dandasana. So I'll have you first inhale and raise your arms above your head and look up. And as you exhale, fold and bring your hands to your knees. Slide down as far as you can. Try to bend your knees and touch your chest on your thighs. Gently press your knees back as you let your head drop down. And then bend your knees, inhale and lift your chin and look forward. And then step back and come down onto your hands and knees again. Take an inhale breath and move into the cow pose where you lift your chin. An exhale breath where you tuck your chin and round. And now come around into the sitting position with your legs together and palms flat on the floor beside your hips. All right, stick pose. Lift your chest, drop your chin, pull your shoulders down and back. So the back, the spine, we're going to try to create a relatively neutral bend. So if you have a hard time sitting like this, lean back on your hands so you can practice attempting to pull your belly in and make the spine as straight as possible in relation from your hips up to your chest. So even though you're leaning back, straight in the sense that you have a relative even line going from chest, shoulders down to hips. If you're able to get your chest above your hips, use the down press of your palms to help elevate your chest, and then take your chin and look down and pull your shoulders down and pull your shoulders back. And then from here, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you employ a strap. If you have a strap handy and or you don't need to use a strap, you can always use your hands on your shins. However, if you take the strap and hook it around the bottoms of your feet, what we'll do is kind of like you're holding onto the reins on a horse. You hold onto the strap and practice, instead of just focusing on rounding your body forward, I'd like for you to first attempt to sit up relatively straight in your posture. So we're going to remove the deep flexion out of the spine, and we're going to try to create more of a neutral alignment with your spinal column. Now gently pull and start to fold and work the movement at the hips, and we might stay right here. So instead of worrying about going all the way forward and trying to touch the head down to the legs, on purpose, we're going to work on keeping our spine relatively straight with a little bit of gentle bending at the hips. And that's already 5. Okay, go ahead and release and let go of this pose. And now we're going to work into our table position, which is Purdvottanasana. In the Ashtanga version, we go with the hips up. So what we're going to do is make a modified version where you bend your knees, you have your hands on the floor, your fingers are forward, and as you press down, raise your hips up and let your head drop back and relax your neck, and try to press your hips as high as you can, potentially bringing it in line with your knees and your shoulders. Remember to continue your breath rhythm. So you inhale, exhale, nice and steady, breathing through the nose. And we'll call that 5. Slowly lower back down and land your hips on the ground. Now, in Ashtanga Yoga, we have the vinyasa. So what I'm going to have you do is just swivel to one side, swing your legs around, come onto your hands and your knees, and this way we can make the cow and the cat. Here I'm just going to insert vinyasas in between the groups of the poses, and we'll just move from pose to pose, inserting the vinyasa occasionally. For our up dog, we're inhaling, lifting the chin. And for our down dog, we're going to exhale and round the spine. And then we're going to come through to seated and bring the legs in front. So now the next posture is called, I'm going to turn this way so you'll be able to see my right leg, is called the half-bound lotus, the Ardha Baddha Padma Paschimottanasana. So what I would like for you to do is take your right foot and try place it onto your left thigh. Take the strap, hook it onto your foot, and take your right arm behind your back and practice catching a hold of the strap. If you attempt to do this and have a very difficult time with the hip, the knee, the ankle, go ahead and just start with Janu Shirshasana A, where you put your foot on the floor. However, if you have the ability to stack your foot on top of your thigh, now you could just say, I don't want to use a strap, and all I want to do is just take my arm behind the back in the direction of the foot. That's an option. If you like to use a strap, though, you can fold it in half, put it over the foot, put your hand behind, and make the catch. Now, with your left hand, don't worry so much about reaching forward for the left foot, because we're just going to work focusing primarily on engage the abdominal wall and gently fold forward. And where we'll really notice the majority of the pressure going is in the hip and the knee. And we have a fairly neutral spinal position without a lot of torque, turn, twist, flex. We're keeping it relatively strong, and we're going to emphasize the movement at the hips, the pelvis tipping forward. versus flexing deeply into the spine. Use your core strength, the bandhas. We have what's called mula bandha and uddiyana bandha. Mula bandha is this contraction of the pelvic floor, and the uddiyana bandha, which means flying upward, is the engagement of the abdominal wall. So we're just going to emphasize a little more mula strength and uddiyana strength, the root lock and the belly abdomen contraction, then bending the spine a whole bunch. And then release. Let's go right to the other side. Take your right leg forward, and now your left foot half lotus. So what we do is we just bring the foot and gently rest it on top of the thigh, somewhere between the knee and the hip. If you have a knee injury and pain, don't push. Just go to the Janu Shasana A with your foot on the floor. When you have the half lotus position, if you have the strap and you use it, hook it around, fold it in half, wrap it behind. Your left hand will grab a hold of the strap connected to your left foot. Put your right hand on your shin and just practice trying to sit up relatively straight. So remove the deep flexion of your spine, engage the abdominal muscles, and practice holding here with a good, attentive position, and you're aware of how you're moving your spine. And this way, if you do fold, you can work on the movement of the pelvis and the flexion, which is actually an anterior tilt. When we go forward like this with the pelvis, we're going forward, anterior, back, posterior. So we're going to go anterior tilt and engage the abdominal muscles. Okay, then we'll release. We inhale, bring the body up. Go ahead and let go of the prop. Let your left leg come down to the floor. And next up, some of you might need a block to sit on. And so what we're going to do is take our right leg. We're going to lean on our left hip and bend the right knee and let your right foot point back. So what we want to avoid is having the foot in this sort of inner ankle touching with the pressure on the big toe and the foot in a dorsiflex. What we're going to try to do is take the foot, point it, and have the top of the foot down on the floor. This right knee, it can go wide if you need. Those of you that have had knee replacements, what you can do is, one way that I have people modify this pose in the Ashtanga, in the Mysore or the Ashtanga room, is to lay on the back and fold the leg down in this fashion. Because what it does is it removes the pressure. Now, another way that we can do is utilizing a block. And if you sit on the block and you take your right leg and fold back, this will elevate you a little bit and make it possible to potentially sit level. Now, again, because we want to be aware of what we're doing with our spine, we're going to focus on going through the Ashtanga poses here in the first part of the primary series, or on the floor series, by just focusing on pull the belly in, contract the pelvic floor, keep your hands somewhere on your knee or your thigh, and just try to sit up really tall. Imagine a line that is going from the base of your spine up through the spinal column to the top of your head, and you try to take the top of your head up toward the ceiling or whatever is above you. And this way, you're stabilizing and strengthening them through the core engagement of the abdominal muscles and pelvic floor to be able to keep a nice neutral alignment in your spine. And then we'll release and change the other side. So if you lean on the left and bring your right leg forward, you lean a little over to the right and you bend your left knee back. Attempt to sit relatively level. Use the block if you like, or a prop of any sort. And let's do the other side. So you place your hands on the leg or the knee, or if you are able to grab the foot, really emphasize a little bit more of the lifting of your chest and your spine upright. Again, try to take the top of your head and reach up and find that through the engagement of your abdominal wall. Stable, strong spine. We're not going to go so much into bending it as much. We're going to try to build the core strength through the supporting musculature, honoring the natural curves of the spine, which are the way that we are able to handle impact and weight. And so this way, we're just going to kind of celebrate the natural curves of the spine, not put a ton of different bend in it, and we just strengthen through the core. And then we'll release. You bring your left leg forward, come off of the block, and here we'll insert a vinyasa in between this little chunk. So you kind of swivel around and put the half-bound lotus and the three limbs facing one foot as they are counter poses to each other. So when you come to your hands and knees, take an inhale into the cow pose, lift your chin. Take an exhale into the cat pose and round your spine. And now we're going to enter the next family, which is called Janu Shirsasanas. And there's 3 Janu Shirsasana poses. First, Janu Shirsasana A. Take your right knee. This will be easier, in my opinion, than the half lotus, and bring your right heel in. If you go to relax your right knee down and you're experiencing knee pain, take a prop and set it under your leg to elevate it a little bit. If you have the ability, it's tight, but it doesn't hurt, go ahead and let it just relax into thin air. Now reach forward for your left leg. And again, we're going to focus on getting the alignment of the spine in an upright-like position, strength through the core, and tip forward, putting the emphasis on the movement of the pelvis, the anterior tilt of the pelvis, without bending the spinal column too much. Now, what's unique about this pose is that it does have us doing a little bit of twist and then a forward fold motion. Twisting, if you have low back pain, we need to back off of the twisting until the inflammation goes down. And then once the inflammation goes down, we can investigate and try twisting and bending it a little bit more again. However, if you are in a flare-up and or in a management phase where you're in constant pain, but we're trying to manage it and pull it down a little bit, we're just not going to bend as far. I want you to do just a little tiny twisting motion. You're aware that if you face this direction, which is kind of like we're making about a 90-degree angle here. So if you focus on that 45-degree angle, which is like right in the middle of the 90, and you just practice sitting up really tall, then if you start to turn your chest toward the left foot, this is where the twist starts to come into play. And there's a really unique, interesting little rotational motion that happens at your femur and your hip. We're going to go into that slight little internal rotation motion of your femur, and then we're going to direct the shoulders and chest forward to the foot and slowly just come down like a little tiny bit. Okay, now the idea, once you land in the state of the pose that you determined is where, here I am, this is what I landed in. Now check in. How does my back feel? I have no pain right now. I'm going to sustain in a place of no pain. If you're in a flare-up, you'll have pain. I hate to say this, maybe no matter what. Like when your back is really inflamed, it hurts no matter what we do. And I'm speaking from experience. So right now I'm not in a pain pattern, so I'm in a good place, but I know what it's like. So that's why you just have to do really gentle movements. Now, if you're in a place where you have no pain today, but you know what back pain is, I want you to almost move like you do have back pain, if that makes sense. Move like you're very aware of the fact that you have a little pain going on, and you need to just be very gentle with yourself and don't force anything. And this is a really important skill to learn if you love yoga and you are learning to move in a new way to accommodate and manage, and then this is critical. All right, so now we'll release and we're going to come back up. We just finished the left side. Now we have a pose called Janu Shirsasana B, and the way I'm going to ask you to employ it today is take a block, and I want you to sit on the block and and I'm just turning my direction side to side so my bending leg is facing you, but you don't need to shift your position. So now bring your right heel in, and we're on a block, so it's like we're elevated, but we're not bearing full pressure down on the heel like we do in the classic or full version of Janu Shirsasana B. In Janu Shirsasana B, we attempt to sit right on top of the heel. So today what we're going to do is we're going to sit on a block and take the right heel close to the block. And now I want you to first face the 45-degree angle. So that means you're not twisting your spine. Pull the belly in, and now do a very gentle twisting motion to the left. And now just flex forward a little tiny bit over your left leg, and just stay focused on drawing your belly in and contracting your abdominal wall while you breathe. I'm not counting the full 5 breaths. I'm just talking so I can give you instruction. But your job right now is just to breathe in and out and attempt to take your attention to the internal environment. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, we have the 5th limb of the eight limb path, which is called pratyahara. Pratyahara is the withdrawal of the senses. So what we're doing is we're implementing pratyahara while we're practicing our asana practice so that we are aware of what we are doing. I know, a novel concept, right? So now we're going left side, Janu Shirshasana B. Right leg is straight, left knee bends, heel near block. You're on the block. Face the 45, draw the belly in, do a slight rotational motion towards your right leg. Little tiny bit of folding forward. Activate your quadriceps. Try to have your legs straight at the knee if you can. Dorsiflex your right ankle so your toes turn towards you. And just work strong core strength while you make a very simple, subtle bend. I know if you're an Ashtanga Yoga practitioner like I am, and you've been doing it for years and years, and you love it, and you love going deep, it is really difficult to pull back. It is the most rewarding thing in the world, in my opinion, to learn how to pull back. So this is a really fun way to practice, in my opinion. It's humbling, but it's just as rewarding. All right, so go ahead and release and take your left leg forward. Now we have the Janu Shirshasana C. So the way I would like for you to implement the Janu Shirshasana C is first start off with your Janu Shirshasana A, where you have your right heel in. See if you can sit up straight spine with your foot on floor first. Okay, now next, you're going to need to round back just a little bit to lift your right foot and grab your right heel from under with your left hand. Take your right hand, grab the toes and dorsiflex your ankle, and grab the toes and just try to stretch your toes back. And practice sitting up as straight as you can through the engagement of the QL muscle on your back, balanced with the squeeze of the abdominal muscles. And just practice breathing and holding here. So we're implementing the unique range of motion that occurs in Janu Shirshasana C with the knee and hip and ankle and toes, but keeping a relatively stable, strong spinal pose. And release. Bring your right leg forward and take your left leg and first start off with the Janu Shirshasana A shape, which is foot close to leg, and practice squeeze belly and try to sit as straight as you can. To lift the left foot, do a very gentle posterior tilt, aka round your back, and grab a hold of your left heel from underneath with your right hand. Take your left hand, grab your left toes, all five, and try to pull them back so that you are stretching the Achilles tendon area, you're stretching the bottoms of the feet, and you're stretching your toes into what's called toe extension. Now, lift your chest and sit up very tall, pull your shoulders back a little, and just focus on the core strength of the musculature that supports the spine in this position. And release. Release your left leg. Now we're going to do the vinyasa on the in-between to work the kind of shake it off effect in between. So you're on your mat. You just swivel your legs one side or the other, and you come around onto your hands and your knees. And we'll make the cow pose first. Inhale, lift your chin. And we make the cow pose second. You tuck your chin and round. And then we're going to come back through seated position. And now we have the Marichyasanas. And I'd like to take you through the Marichyasana poses before we conclude our practice together today. So first we have Marichyasana A. So what I'd like for you to try to do is start off in your stick pose. Okay, in your Marichyasana A, take your right knee and just practice bend the right knee and bring the heel as close to the hip as you can. I'm going to turn towards you. Bring your left hand onto the floor beside your left hip so that what I'd like for you to try to do is compress your chest as close to your leg as you can by just squeezing the leg into the body. Now, what I'd like for you to be aware of is that when we do this, we are beginning to round the back a little bit. So now notice here that what I'm going to do, that's going to be a little, I'll oscillate between two variations so you'll be aware of what you can do. Cow pose is where you hold the knee and you try to lift your chest and you squeeze the back muscles, which cause you to sit up nice and straight. And then flexion pose, cat pose, is where you round your spine. And eventually in the A, we start to wrap, but we're not going to wrap right now. The only wrapping I want you to do is to take your right arm and grab your right knee and counter press with your left hand on the floor. So it's like you're going into the cow pose and you're creating spinal extension while you just hug your chest against your body and secure. And now to squeeze your belly muscles while you're holding here. And release. Let's do the other side. Take your right leg straight and bend your left knee. Pull your left heel in. This is where you might need to lean back a little to be able to get the heel ratcheted in nice and close. Put your right hand on the floor. Take your left arm, grab your left knee, and now try to lift your chest. Good, and stay where you are. I'm just going to turn so you can see different angles. And lift your chest and just compress your thigh against your abdomen. This way we're not dumping a ton of pressure into flexion. What you'll probably start noticing is that you're going to be more comfortable in releasing your spine if you have back pain, either going forward bending or in back bending. Meaning back bends might feel great for you, forward bends won't feel so great, vice versa. Forward bends might feel great for you, but back bends not so much. So here we're going to try to neutralize the movement of the spine. Good. And then release. And this way we'll start to learn our spine. You have a completely unique spine to everybody else. Yours is completely unique. So now Marityasana B. What I want you to do is bend your left knee and bring your left heel in close to the body, foot on the floor. Let's not even contemplate half lotus quite yet. Foot on the floor. Okay, now push down into your hands, lift your chest up. This is one way we can do, because if we need to be able to get the spine straight, we might need to use a little bit of traction motion, where if you push down against the hands and try to lift your chest, you can feel like your rib cage is actually lifting up away from your hips, and it can decompress like the lumbar to lower thoracic area. Okay, next I'd like for you to try bending your right knee and bringing your right heel in close to the body. Take your right arm, grab your knee like we just did in the Marityasana A. Now I'm going to turn towards you so you can see the motion that I'm attempting to create. And you use your left hand on the floor. Now, it is very natural that your right hip is going to lift a little bit up off the floor. So that's expected. And actually, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have right now, my two sit bone, my two ischial tuberosities, the bottom of the hip, is on the ground. Right now, I'm going to rock a little forward and have my right hip lift up. Now, this is creating a very slight side bend in the low spine. And so this is where we have to just feel around and see, do I need to keep my hip down? Or can I have my hip come up and have that little bit of movement there? And you feel it. So the more your attentiveness, your attention to the quality of sensation, it becomes finer and more acute. You can make minimal little adjustments, little incremental shifts and adjustments to help to find a position that you can stretch into those areas that are really difficult and painful. So you just move very slow, nice and easy. Let's do the other side. So now we're just going to reverse the knee setup, where your right knee is down and your left knee is up. You take your left arm, you grab a hold of your left knee, you put your right hand on the floor. First, lean your left sitting bone, your left ischial tuberosity to be specific, down on the floor. You can feel like your pelvis is level. Try just pushing against your right hand and sitting up straight with your pelvis level. See if you can then rock a little over towards your right hip so the left hip comes up about an inch, and then press against your right hand and try to sit up straight again. And just feel around, how's my back doing? Which one feels better right now? Can I find an angle where it feels like it's releasing possibly? If it's super tight, do I want to move a little bit one way or the other? Start to experiment and then release. Good. Now for Marityasana C, I'm going to just fold up a blanket, but a block could work, or anything of this nature. And I'm going to fold it kind of high and assume, or I know never assume anything, but pretend that I know exactly what you need, because I can see you. No. All right. So now your right heel comes in. So what we're going to do with our Marityasana C is we're elevating the hips, because we're going to remove the deep flexion of the spine that occurs when we start trying to do the arm wrap. So you have and we are also beginning to implement twist. Let me explain a little bit about the way your spine twists. The lumbar vertebra don't twist a lot. The thoracic vertebra have more twistability than the low back, the lumbar. And the cervical spine, the neck, has increased the most amount of rotational ability out of the entire spinal column. So what I want you to do first is sit on your blanket, left leg straight, right knee bend, heel close to the hip. Take your left hand, put it on your right knee, put your right hand on the floor beside or behind, or both, behind and beside. Excuse me. Hold the knee, push down, and try to lift your chest up. Be aware, okay, I'm in neutral spine, meaning I'm not twisting. Now I'm going to try to twist just my head rotation. Now we're going to try to just pull the right shoulder back a little bit. Now I'm going to bring the twist down a little lower into my back. And as I go, I feel like, okay, my spine feels good. I don't have any pain here. I'm just going to hold a nice gentle rotation. If for you, you're starting to twist and you feel some pain, it hurts. Straight up, simple. I want you to come out of the twist. Maybe we don't twist it all right now. We keep the spine and just do a little neck rotation. Exercise the other areas of the spine that are healthy and comfortable, unless you have a neck issue. You might do everything where you don't turn your head all that much. Gentle movement. We can't go for our extreme asana like we used to. Not right now, not while we're inflamed. So I'm going to turn around so that I'll be able to look at you. And have your right leg forward and bend your left knee. Level hips. You're sitting on the blanket. You have your left hand down. Your right hand grabs your left knee. And first, feel the lift and alignment of your spine in this vertical alignment or axis. And just start to experiment and start to feel, okay, I have 3 segments. I'm going to start with my neck. I'm going to follow up with my shoulder. And I'm going to gently try to move the rotation down into the lower back. I hit a little spot where I'm like, ugh. So I'm going to come out of the twist. I'm going to pull my belly in and just focus on the upper portion of my spine moving. But I have the lower portion. I'm imagining that I have it fused. I have the bones fused and they can't move right now. And I know that that sounds a little counterintuitive to yoga because you think yoga is all about flexibility. However, when we have pain and where we're learning pain management and how to use yoga as a therapeutic tool to manage pain, we rewrite the rules. All right. And make a nice, simple, easy twisting motion over to the left. Good. And we'll unwind. And that brings us to Mrityasana D. And I'm going to have you approach a very similar fashion. I'm just going to keep my blanket here right in the middle, but I'm going to turn so that I can look at you. So left leg is going to come down on the floor. Right knee is going to bend. We're elevated a little bit. So again, we can kind of get the spine up nice and tall with a super simple, easy rotational motion, coordinated precisely to the sensation and level of pressure that you are experiencing right now in the moment. Don't worry about your back yesterday or tomorrow. Right now, what's happening? This is what's critical as well. We got to stay present. The other thing to keep in mind is that pain is often here to tell us we have to do something different. And we can't change the outside world. We can only change the inside world. And so we're learning to move in different ways so that we can exercise change. And through that change comes growth. So pain actually is a good growth generator. I know it's horrible. Let your right knee come down. I didn't invent the system. All right, go ahead and bring your left foot in. Put your right hand on the left knee. Put your left hand down. But we're learning to start to co-create with the system. So that's how we can, manage pain and make progress. All right. So now my left hand's on the floor. The left knee is up. The right knee is bent. The right foot's down. And you're holding your left knee with your right hand. You practice sitting up nice and tall and gently rotate to the left. And so we have just worked through the sitting poses of the primary series of Ashtanga Yoga from Dandasana, stick pose, all the way up through Mrityasana D. And we did it in a very gentle way. Big question a lot of my colleagues ask in the Ashtanga Yoga world, well, is it still Ashtanga Yoga? I don't care. What does it matter what we call it? If you're taking good care of yourself, great. You got your own method, your own style. Make it unique. Follow the rules and then learn how to break the rules so that your yoga works for you. All right, so I want you to come around onto your hands and knees, and we're going to make our final cat-cow motion. So you come to your hands and knees, and we shake it off with our vinyasa of the inhale to the cow, the exhale to the cat. And we're going to conclude our session together today with Shavasana. I'd like for you to go ahead and lie down onto your yoga mat and just recline. Let your legs extend. Let your body relax. Let your arms rest. And just come into a final resting position. And I'm going to give you a couple of options here because there's a lot to talk about in relation to back pain and laying down. Now, one thing that comes up quite a bit is that when I lay flat, I feel like that exacerbates the sensation of the lumbar. So what you can do is bend your knees and let your knees come in and just kind of relax your back. And sometimes changing the angle of relationship to pelvis to spine can make a big difference. So you can relax in Shavasana with bent knees if you need. Now, the other thing that's really good for back pain is laying on the belly, and actually is really good for decompressing the spine. So if you want to turn your Shavasana into a laying on the belly position, you can make a hand pillow where you put one hand on top of the other, you drop your head down, and you just practice laying on your abdomen to decompress. And this might be a posture that you have to use several times a day to take the pressure off when you're in an extreme pain pattern. But let me encourage you, because I do occasionally, and I'm managing my back pain with yoga. I just have to be a little, we have to be intelligent. Hang in here. Do not give up. It's shifting. Change the way you are doing things. Pay very close attention to how you are holding your body. Pay very close attention to when your back feels triggered. What movement, what shape, or what posture are you in when it happens? Be open to changing the way you are doing everything. And with that, let the intelligence of your personal system guide you. And listen. Practice the art of listening. Develop your art of listening to your body, and give yourself the freedom and the space to adjust, shift, and change as you need. It can get better. Even when you're at your worst and your lowest, I have a friend who, when they're going through back pain, and when I'm in really bad back pain, I call them and I say, I'm in really bad back pain. And they'll remind me, oh yeah, but remember, you weren't in back pain. And I have it too normally, but I don't. So hang in here. And then when I'm up and they're down, they call me and I remind them, you're going to be okay. It's hard to remember you're going to be okay when you're in a really tough place. So you're going to be okay. Don't give up. All right. I hope this helps. Namaste.